Welcome to the PAES Lab. This is the second video in the PAES Lab training series. In this video, we will give you an overview of the PAES Lab and introduce you to the terminology and materials you'll be using. Before we begin, let's make sure you have the PAES training materials you need. First, sign in on your PAES Training Participants Guide. And second, remember to sign in on the PAES Training Sign-In Sheet, the job assignment chart, and the PAES timing software. If you have not yet signed in, pause this video and sign in now. Welcome to the PAES Lab job site. Remember, the PAES Lab is not a classroom, it's a simulated work site.
The teachers are supervisors, the students are employees, and class periods are shifts.
Now let's go over the materials and terminology you'll be using during the PAES Lab. First, let's look at the component charts. Employees in the PAES Lab are assessed on how well they perform jobs. These jobs are divided into 5 components: business marketing, computer technology, construction industrial, consumer service, and processing and production. This is the component chart for the consumer service component. Each of the 5 PAES components focuses on a different field of employment and the skills associated with that field. Each component is made up of 8 to 10 units. Each unit further distinguishes different skill sets within a field of employment. For instance, the consumer service component has a food measurement unit, a unit that covers common kitchen appliances, as well as units that assess and teach hand sewing and machine sewing skills. In the processing production component, there are units that cover pipe and bolt assembly, thread design, and paper cutting. While the construction industrial component has units like shop measurement, wood and metal projects, and parts identification. The computer technology component teaches and assesses students on skills like data entry, word processing, and how to work with digital photos. Finally, the business and marketing component has units that cover skills like alphabetizing, making change, and typing.
Each unit is made up of 6 jobs increasing in difficulty from levels 1 to 6. Within a unit, each job at each increasing level builds off of the skills assessed in the previous one.
In total, the PAES Lab has 264 jobs. As you can see, each job has a unique alphanumeric code that contains the unit and the job level. For example, in CO2 or TP5, the 2 letters matched the unit name. CO indicates a job in the collating unit, while TP indicates a job in the typing unit. The number after the 2 letters indicates the level of difficulty in the unit.
But before employees begin exploring more difficult jobs, each one must first perform a baseline assessment. The baseline assessment is a series of level 1 jobs that is used to assess an employee's areas of strength.
While level 6 jobs correspond to average entry-level jobs in community-based employment. These charts will be displayed side by side on the wall. Employees will use them to find out which PAES component they will be working in for the day and where they can find job materials for their first job. But first, employees must locate their job card. There are 5 job card boxes, 1 for each component. Each job box contains job cards for every job in the component.
The job card gives the employee all the details needed to set up and perform the job on their own.
Each job card includes a list of needed equipment and materials. It also includes procedures the employee will have to follow to perform the job. This job corresponds with job FP2, Food Preparation 2 in the Consumer Service component. But what about the materials required to perform the job? Most jobs have a box which contain many, if not all, of the materials listed on the job card. These are job boxes. They show the alphanumeric code of the corresponding job cards. Each job box has an inventory on the inside of the top lid listing all the materials in the box. Sometimes the job will require additional materials or equipment that isn't in the job box. In those cases, the missing materials are kept in the unit's material box, or elsewhere in the PAES lab. There are many PAES manuals. Some are for use in the lab, some are for your reference, and some are only used by employees. Let's start by looking at the manuals you will use in the lab. First, there are the quick reference guides, referred to as QRGs.
Supervisors use these during class periods, or PAES shifts, as a quick reference.
There's a QRG for each of the 5 components, and one for general lab procedures. Supervisors use component QRGs to become familiar with how each job should be set up, scored, and disassembled to be ready for the next employee. Here's an excerpt for the job page for job FP2, which we looked at earlier. It contains all the instruction you need to set up, score, and disassemble the job. You will use these QRGs when you practice the PAES work procedure in the next training video. The PAES Lab QRG is very similar to your participant's guide, except that the practice pages have been removed and it has a more durable cover. It's a great tool to have in the lab as you're getting set up and are still becoming familiar with the various terms, procedures, and scoring guidelines that are key to obtaining valid PAES assessment results. Now let's look at the 3-ring binders that you will use for reference. First, let's look at the component manuals. Each component has a comprehensive manual that includes instructions on how to set up your component, as well as a summary of all equipment, materials, and supplies needed for each unit to be operational. Supervisors should refer to these 3-ring binders outside the class period, when employees are not present, to learn more about each PAES component. This is the PAES Lab Procedures Manual. This 3-ring binder is a comprehensive breakdown of everything you need to know about the PAES lab. It goes into detail on every aspect. The more you review this manual before your lab starts, the more effective your lab will be. The manual is divided into 8 sections. An overview of the PAES program, instructions on setting up your PAES lab, a review on the PAES work procedure, interpreting a PAES performance summary report, assessing employees using the PAES system, the PAES workplace soft skills inventory, evaluating employees using subtasks, and finally, general info on PAES lab forms. We will cover each of these subjects in future videos. Finally, there are the manuals used exclusively by employees. To find missing materials and equipment, employees use the component equipment manuals. If employees ask for help finding equipment, refer them to these spiral-bound manuals. Expecting the employees to find their own equipment increases workplace independence, a critical skill for employment. This is a sample page from the Construction Industrial Equipment Manual. If a job card lists an Allen wrench and it's not in the job box, an employee can go to the equipment manual, identify it, and find it in the relevant equipment box, or tool cabinet as the case may be. You'll have a chance to familiarize your employees with the equipment manuals during the employee orientation. We will review how to conduct an employee orientation in video 15, What's Next? There are many forms and folders that come with your PAES materials. However, not all are needed when using the PAES Scan app. The data collection booklets, for example, are not required with PAES Scan because all scoring is recorded in the app. This is a workplace soft skills inventory checklist. It is used for assessing employees on workplace soft skills. We'll cover the workplace soft skills inventory in video 8. These are the employee and supervisor work procedures, which detail the step-by-step routines that employees and supervisors follow each day in the PAES lab. Your shipments should contain multiple copies of these forms for supervisors to use as they become familiar with lab procedure. PAES Scan walks the supervisor through each step of the scoring process in real time, leaving the paper copy for reference if needed. Meanwhile, a laminated chart of the employee work procedure should be posted at the check-in station for employee reference. We cover these procedures in detail in the next video, PAES Lab Management, the daily work procedure for supervisors and employees. This is an employee work folder. Each employee will have an employee work folder specifically for them. The forms inside keep track of the employee's progress in the PAES lab. Both supervisors and employees will refer to and update the forms in the employee work folder each day. Here's a quick breakdown of the forms and how they are used. The employee work record keeps track of jobs performed and points earned. The daily points record keeps track of points and employee goals. And finally, the cumulative record form keeps track of the total number of jobs performed successfully.
This is an optional paper form when using PAES Scan, as the cumulative record is built into the app.
Using these forms, let's make a folder for each of you as if you were employees. Please write your name on the folder's tab and place them at the check-in station near the front door of your lab. We'll use these in the next video. Here's a quick review of what we covered in this video. PAES has 5 components, 44 units, and 264 jobs. The 2 letters in a job code correspond with the job's unit, while the number indicates the job's difficulty. Job cards have a list of the materials and procedures required to perform the job. Manuals in the PAES lab are either for use in the lab, for use as reference, or for use by employees. The employee work record tracks an employee's progress through the PAES lab. Each employee has their own employee work record. In the next video, you will be using your employee work folders and performing PAES lab jobs to learn how the PAES lab functions on a day-to-day basis. Thanks.